What is cross-platform mobile development? Is it writing in a single language and running it on both Android and iOS? Or is it writing common business logic in a common language and sharing with the native platform code? Is it HTML, JavaScript, or C++? Or can it be your regular Kotlin and Swift? Listen to find out more about cross-platform development, how it evolved over the years, and what it means for native Android or iOS developers. Hello and welcome to ReActivity Podcast. I'm your host Kalyan and this is a show about all things Android. From tips to latest news to experiences that can help you become a better developer. In today's episode, let's talk about what, why and how of cross-platform development. If you are new or switching your career to mobile development, you may have a question about what you should learn or begin with. Learn a single platform or both natively or choose a cross-platform solution. Remember, whatever language or framework we use, we should maintain the standard and quality that we plan in our apps. To give you a short answer, you should learn the platform natively that you want to develop apps on, even if you end up choosing a cross-platform solution. If you think otherwise, or you want to know in detail about my thought process, let me break this down, beginning with how it all started. The whole need for a cross-platform solution in the first place came into the picture to solve the problem of ease of maintenance and in some cases to keep the cost low. The case of ease in maintenance holds good to some extent, but the second one may not be true. So with these two problems to solve and with available options at that time, anyone would choose a web-based solution. And we got our first available cross-platform solution, a web app. Web apps configured for mobile screens would definitely solve the problem, but comes with their own set of other problems, especially in distribution. There is no way to submit web apps to the stores. So the logical next step would be finding a way to pack web app into a container and then publish them on the stores. That's how the famous Cordova framework was born. It basically solved the problem simple and straight, so it got its popularity paired with HTML5 adoption back then. If I remember correctly, even Facebook app chose this path. Of course, they regretted their choice later, but Cordova did its job pretty well by providing a way to package a web app and, most importantly, APIs to access native features like location, camera, etc. Even though Cordova solved these two problems, a web app will be a web app. It doesn't feel native. So came the next set of evolutionary frameworks like Ionic. I had the first-hand experience with Ionic though. Back when I was starting to write mobile apps, Ionic seems promising. In addition to using Cordova as a way to build the apps, it provided styled components that look and behave like native component, which is a big deal considering the choices that we have back then. Even though Ionic did a good job in bringing the gap closer for a cross-platform solution, it is still a web app. Soon its popularity is clouded by React Native and the introduction of a concept called progressive web apps. React Native, as a success story that we all know today, is definitely an innovative solution. They introduced the concept of learn once and write anywhere, as opposed to write once and run anywhere. Its innovative solution of writing in JavaScript and getting a performance closer to native app and being backed by Facebook has just made React Native the popular option out there. They introduced this technique where we write the app's UI and logic in JavaScript, and in the runtime the framework translates not just the logic but the UI into actual native platform specific components, thus giving better performance than just rendering the web pages. However, the bridge that translates or communicates between the JavaScript and native layer is now technically the only bottleneck or the overhead that would stop it from matching the performance with a native app. My personal experience with React Native, I should say, is not so good. I have tried it in the very early days though. I was able to achieve my target, but I had to swim through a sea of compatibility issues, faster releases, and not so well documented third-party plugins. If you get stuck in a build issue, that would be a whole new level of problem to solve, which would require editing the platform files. This used to happen a lot back then when there are some changes or updates to the native platforms or React Native itself. This is just my opinion though. I've seen many happy developers using React Native. NativeScript is also something that does similarly by rendering JavaScript as native components, but it wasn't adopted like React Native. I haven't tried it personally either, but it is worth mentioning it. Next up is progressive web apps. They're just web apps but are tuned to be lightweight and mainly support offline features with service workers. With major adoption from Google, they made it to mainline by adding an option to add these web apps to the home screen of your phone and give them an app icon just like native app. PWAs are a quick solution that can be downloaded and run smoothly on a low-end devices with less bandwidth. There are many successful use cases with PWAs like Flipkart, Uber, Airbnb, etc. They leverage the lightweight aspect of PWAs and offered a mini version of their apps with limited features specifically for low-end devices. While all this is happening, Google is working on another solution in a different way to solve this problem: Flutter. It is a cross-platform solution that follows the principle of write once and run everywhere. Flutter solves this by compiling the code into native ARM binaries and then rendering them directly with their own rendering engine called Skia. Skia is used in some games as a graphic engine. This is both a pro and a con in the sense that it opens up a new possibilities in the world of cross-platform development and at the same time suffer from bigger app sizes. Another caveat that comes with Flutter is the language, Dart. Dart is really a good language, but it comes with a separate learning curve. With the backing from Google and the speed at which Flutter is being adopted, it can reach different heights. The latest framework to join this race is Kotlin Multi-Platform Mobile. This isn't our traditional solution of writing once or learning once to run everywhere. KMM offers a solution where you write your logic once in Kotlin and link it with your natively written view layers of Android and iOS. The SDK then offers the ability to call the business layer functions that you have written in Kotlin from the native layer. Hence, it is basically a native app with some added comfort. Personally, for Android devs, working with Kotlin will always be exciting. It is currently being actively developed and we have to see where it reaches. Finally, it all comes to us, developers. Bad code in a native app couldn't be better than a well-written app in a cross-platform solution, and vice versa. However, the caveats are a bit less in a native app and hence you may get a better performance out of the box. So to answer my question, even if you are planning to develop a cross-platform app, you should have a knowledge about how things work in the native layer to make the apps both beautiful and performant. At the end of the day, these are the apps that run on mobile devices, and with the fast-moving ecosystem, it is essential to understand how things work in the native layer of the platform to leverage more of its new features. In other words, consider a scenario where you want to use a platform feature for which you don't have support in the cross-platform framework that you are using. With the latest edition of Android apps on the Windows platform, it is definitely a good time to start building your own app. Oh, I almost forgot Xamarin. A fun fact, my first software project is a Windows Phone app written in C#. With my little experience in C#, Xamarin seemed a very good solution for writing cross-platform apps, but you know what happened. I want to wrap up this episode by giving an update from me. I will be sharing updates from my projects and my personal work. I'm planning to start a project and do it end to end. I mean, by actually publishing it, sell it, do marketing, and even provide support if it needs. I have a few ideas for some time now, but I decided to solve a problem that I face personally. A finance planner app. I know there may be multiple solutions out there, but either they are overcomplicated, some seem not so secure, and some are too basic. So I decided to not worry much about the existing solutions and go ahead with my app. Remember, not everyone has the same taste. In the worst case, I would use my own app. I will try to maintain some consistency and share the updates with you about the plan in the coming episodes. Thank you so much for listening. Catch you all next week.